Hello, world changers, guys. Welcome. I'm so excited to be sharing this week with you. Listen, we're kicking off a brand new series. It's a short one, but a good one, and it's called We Are In. And by the end of this, I want to know, and I want you to know for yourself if indeed you are in. Guys, before we go any further, I want to make sure to remind you to like, follow, and subscribe on all our Engage Youth social media platforms so that you can stay in the loop. It's especially important in the holidays where we may not be seeing each other as much, but best believe we're doing a lot and we don't want you to miss out on a single thing. Guys, listen, we've been called to go out and share the gospel, and it doesn't get any easier than sharing this message with a friend right now. So take this link, copy it, share it with a friend, and be a social media evangelist. With all of that out of the way, guys, let's get right into the thick of things, right into the nitty gritty, into the good stuff, right? So, yes, we are in. What does that mean? Well, I like to think of this series as a moment of vision casting. Yes, we're ending off what has been an amazing year, not without its own challenges, but definitely filled abundantly with blessings. And we've seen God move, especially in this ministry, guys. And so many of you world changers have so many testimonies, one after the other, of God's goodness. Now, we're getting ready to step into the next season. And this is why this is important. Because in 2022, this is going to be what we stand on. We are in. It's not a matter of whether God will come through or whether God will win or is this going to happen, but a matter of will you be a part of the move of God when he does it. So guys, we're going to jump into the book of Joshua and see this great opportunity that they had to be in. So get with me into Joshua chapter 3, and we're going to read from verse 1 to 17. It's a long read, but a good read, and I don't want you to stop there. Pause this thing and get to know the story. Early the next morning, Joshua and all the Israelites left Acacia Grove and arrived at the banks of the Jordan River, where they camped before crossing. 3 days later, the Israelite officers went through the camp, giving these instructions to the people. When you see the Levitical priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord your God, move out from your positions and follow them. Since you have never traveled this way before, they will guide you. Stay about half a mile behind them, keeping a clear distance between you and the ark. Make sure you don't come any closer. Then Joshua told the people, purify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do great wonders among you. In the morning, Joshua said to the priests, lift up the ark of the covenant and lead the people across the river. And so they started out and went ahead of the people. The Lord told Joshua, today I will begin to make you a great leader in the eyes of all the Israelites. They will know that I am with you, just as I was with Moses. Give this command to the priests who carry the Ark of the Covenant. When you reach the banks of the Jordan River, take a few steps into the river and stop there. So Joshua told the Israelites, come and listen to what the Lord your God says. Today you will know that the living God is among you. He will surely drive out the Canaanites, Hittites, Hivites, Perizzites, Girgashites, Amorites, and Jebusites ahead of you. Look, the Ark of the Covenant, which belongs to the Lord of the whole earth, will lead you across the Jordan River. Now choose 12 men from the tribes of Israel, one from each tribe. The priests will carry the Ark of the Lord of all the earth. As soon as their feet touch the water, the flow of water will be cut off from upstream, and the river will stand up like a wall. So the people left their camp to cross the Jordan, and the priests who were carrying the Ark of the Covenant went ahead of them. It was the harvest season, and the Jordan was overflowing its banks, but as soon as the feet of the priests who were carrying the Ark touched the water at the river's edge, the water above that point began backing up a great distance away at a town called Adam, which is near Zarethan. And the water below that point flowed onto the Dead Sea until the riverbed was dry. Then all the people crossed over near the town of Jericho. Meanwhile, the priests who were carrying the Ark of the Lord's covenant stood on dry ground in the middle of the riverbed as the people passed by. They waited there until the whole nation of Israel had crossed the Jordan on dry ground. Guys, so this is a great story, right? It's this culmination of this journey that the Israelites have been on. God gave them a promise that he would send them to the promised land, free them from Egypt, and deliver them to the promised land. And so they have been on this 40-year journey. And it's in fact a story that really kicked off hundreds of years ago, right? And they've seen it all. They've seen it all. The 10 plagues, they were there. The Red Sea being split, they were there. Manna, quail, the pillar of fire by night, the cloud by day, they have seen it all, or at least heard of it. And so here they are, and they're about to cross this river into the promised land. This is what we've been waiting for. This is the moment we've all been moving towards, but there's just one hiccup. There's just one tiny minor hiccup. The Jordan River is in full flood. Like, it's completely filled with water, overflowing the banks. And this might seem like a normal sight to many of us who've seen large bodies of water before. And even to us, actually, this should be intimidating, but more so for them, because there's one thing you don't see a lot of in the desert, and that's water. And there's probably one thing you don't learn much of in the desert, and that's swimming. So there's an entire generation of people who know nothing about swimming. The most they've seen of water is this rock that's followed them, that is Jesus, and has supplied water to them, but they've not seen this. And if there is someone amongst the Israelites by some miracle who knows how to swim, the last time he swam was 40 years ago. So I wouldn't bank on him. And here they are at the precipice of this beautiful moment, at the precipice of a promise. And they have a choice to make. Are we in? And God gives Joshua instruction. He says that the priests, they will carry the Ark of the Covenant. And the Ark of the Covenant it was a box, but not just any box. It was this masterfully crafted box by the best craftsmen of the Israelite nation. And they had to craft it to very particular instructions. And in the box was the commandments, right? These pillars, these tablets upon which the commandments are written. And after some time, the rod of Aaron and a pot of manna. And it was covered by this lid that housed the mercy seat and these angels. And it was this well-crafted box that literally accommodated the presence of God. So it wasn't anything to be messed with, but something to be revered and respected, because the presence of God was among them through this box. And this was before the impartation of the Holy Spirit, which we enjoy and are privileged and graced to have today. And so here they are. They need to do this. And they are given this instruction. Let your priests carry this box. Don't touch it. They have a particular way of carrying this, right? Because you have to be purified, and God can't be in the same space as sin. So this is a very tense moment for everyone. The priests, they've purified themselves. The nation must purify themselves. And they are to carry this very heavy box, this very well-crafted box that is the presence of God. And this box will go before them. The priests will carry this box before them. And that is of an utmost importance, because we are in, but what are we into? Well, we are into what God is leading us into, what God has already planned and destined. And so are we falling into his plan? He will lead us into this, into crossing over into what his promises for our lives are. And they have this moment where we're going to do this. We're going to follow God and get into these waters which seem like they're just going to take us over. But we can't trust in ourselves. We don't know how to swim, and we're definitely not strong enough for these currents. We do, however, trust that God is able to get us through. And so God says, I will lead you. My literal presence will go before you. And it's this act or this ask of faith that God offers to the Israelite nation, to the nation of Israel. He says, your priests, they will go before you. They will carry the Ark of the Covenant. but they will step foot into these waters. That is the question. Will you step foot into these flooded, heavy, pouring current? Will you step foot into this river and take your chance and take the risk and believe that God will meet you there? Or do you go, guys, there's too many variables. There's too much risk. We can't do this right now. Maybe we just stick around in the forest. It's been good. Maybe there's more manna and quail. Maybe these clothes will just keep growing. We can just do this for another 40. No one wants to do this for another 40 years. And they must be feeling a lot of things. I can't imagine what they're feeling. This is purely speculation, right? They're going through a lot. And they must be asking themselves, are we really all going to make it through? Are we really all going to dare and try this? Are the elderly among us going to dare to try this? Are the children among us, are we okay with them doing this? Are we really going through with this, guys? We don't know what this is. We've never seen something of this magnitude, waters of this magnitude. And we're just supposed to step in, just supposed to walk in. So there must be lots of fear and lots of doubt. And I say that because I think many times in our own lives, there's a lot of fear and a lot of doubt. And so many times, and this is true for a lot of you, right? In this season, right in the thick of your exams. Some of you are in matric and these are your final exams. And everything you've done up to this point culminates right here. And you might be going, I don't think I can get through this. I can finish this. It's like getting to the finals of an amazing sports season and you've worked so hard to get here and you see the team on the other side of the pitch. I don't think I can do this. It's like praying over your own family and you've been waiting for breakthrough and we're right there and this is a lot, right? But everything's been riding on this moment. And here's the thing, maybe you don't feel super equipped or super ready for this, but that's why God puts himself ahead of you, puts himself in front of you, so that you can follow him because he's ready, because he's enough, because he will get you through. And so I want to ask you, are you desperate enough to see your situation change? Because among everything they must be feeling, I am pretty sure, and I'm willing to bet on it if I was a gambling man, I'm not, that there was a sense of desperation among the people in that nation. We've been in a desert for so long. We've been living on manna and quail for so long. We've been walking around in circles for so long. We've seen people die. We've seen people born. We've lived for generations here for so long, waiting and trusting and believing in the promise. And I am ready for something new. I am ready to make it through. I am ready to cross over. I'm ready to give it everything I have. I'm ready to risk it all. And I'm ready to be in to whatever you're doing, God, because we've been trusting for this for so long. And we've been trusting in you. And that's often the recipe, right? God makes us a promise and we buy in because that's what we want and we know that's what we need and he knows it's what we need. And then he makes an ask of faith. He makes an ask and gives us an opportunity to react in faith. And he gave them the same opportunity. Will you step your foot in these heavy waters, in these running and rushing and gushing waters, and trust that I will come through? Because I will, but I won't until you get in there, right? Because if you don't, then you don't want this, or you don't trust me enough for this. And so they do. The priests get in there. They put their feet in there, not knowing what's going to happen next. And I want to say the waters just jumped up, but they don't, right? The word says that the waters stopped flowing from a town upstream called Adam. And if you actually look at the geographical location, it's about over 100 kilometers away from where they are at this point. So the miracle begins the minute they step their foot in the water. But they won't see it for quite some time. Maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours. And so, yes, we say yes, and we step in and we respond in kind to this ask of faith. We respond faithfully. And it may not look like God is coming through right away, but trust that he is true to his promise and he's faithful to you and he's coming through. So you may not see it right now, but just stay in the water, hang in there, because slowly they see the waters begin to subside until the ground is completely dry. It must have taken a long time, but it is completely dry. And the people begin to walk over while the priests, they carry this ark, the presence of God. And it's an entire nation. And this is a heavy box. And they're holding onto it with all they have. And they can complain or give up now and say, there's no way, guys. It's a nation of millions. We can't do this. But they hold on. There's nothing more encouraging than a miracle, but it's tiring. It's taxing. And they're making it through one by one by one. And so we see that not only were they in for the miracle, but we see in just the lives of the priests, so in that moment there really, that God's breakthrough, that their obedience and their faithfulness to seeing him come through opened an entire doorway for a nation to enter into the promise. So God not only makes the promise for our sake or comes through for the promise for our sake, but sometimes he calls us to be in, to be fully in like the priests who carried the ark for the sake of generations, for the sake of communities, for the sake of our families and our friends, because that promise he is true to give to everyone, to all his children. So I'm trusting, or I'm asking you, is there something you're trusting God for? And is there a faith ask he's making of you? Are you standing at the culmination of a promise and you just don't know if you have what it takes? Do you feel like this is it? I'm not enough, but I'm so close. Well, God is calling you to respond in faith, family, and to see him come through on the other side of obedience, just like the Israelites saw. I want to take this moment. Let me pray for you. And you can stare at me awkwardly or close your eyes. Lord, thank you so much for this time. Thank you for this opportunity, this blessing. You're such a good God, and thank you that you come through over and over and over again. Give us the strength, the wisdom, and the obedience to say yes to the faith ask, to get into those waters. Maybe we don't know how to swim. Maybe we don't feel strong enough. Maybe we feel like we'll be overtaken by the current. But if you go before us, then we trust that a miracle must happen and the promise must come true, and we won't rest until we see it. I pray for every world changer who sees this, that they will be encouraged and they will know that you are a God who keeps his promise. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Family, thank you so much for joining us. Listen, please don't hesitate to contact us, to reach out. I'm so excited to hear from you. Tell us your story. I'll share ours with you. If you have a question, if you want prayer, we're here. Listen, go out, change the world, be blessed. Until next time, again, are you in?